Hi everyone, welcome to LA Blockchain Summit, and thank you very much for turning into our section. I'm your host, Yiming. Today we're going to talk about blockchain applications in China. When we talk about blockchain, many of us will first think of Bitcoin, of course, and a lot of people say that there's no actual usage scenarios or any killer apps on blockchain right now. Is it really true? Today we have invited four guests to share what they know about blockchain applications in China. And gentlemen, can you take some time to briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. So I go first?
Yeah.
All right. So my name is Sunny Lu. I'm a co-founder and also CEO of Vechain. We started in 2015, and in the last 4 or 5 years, we have been focused on building up blockchain platform for enterprise applications. We have done many cases with different enterprise in different territories. The big names such like PwC, DMVGL, Walmart, etc. We believe in blockchain going to shape the future, but starting from transforming the technology value to the business value.
Great. Hi guys, I'm co-founder of Ziggurat Tech. I'm Song Tao Xuan, and we are a blockchain startup in China called Ziggurat. And we started our business in 2016, and now we become one of the leading blockchain companies in China, which focusing on practical blockchain. So it means that we are paying more attention on consortium blockchain or regulated blockchain, depending on Chinese regulations. And we have applied the blockchain in many scenarios, including supply chain finance, smart city, traceability, and data governance. We also made great contributions to the Hyperledger society community. That we are one of the first 6 Hyperledger certified service providers, besides IBM, Accenture, and Ant Group. So now we have our own consortium blockchain, public blockchain system, and we have served many important consumers, including Toyota, ICBC, China Unicom, and KT in Korea. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'll go next. I'm David Ritter, CEO of Penta Network. It's my 3rd time at LA Blockchain Summit, so I'm really happy to be back and pleased to be a part of this awesome panel. Penta, we've been building blockchain solutions since 2017. We've done a lot of stuff in the banking sector. Recently, we've really moved into the supply chain space, so we do a lot of supply chain traceability, really focused on the enterprise blockchain space at the moment. We have projects currently on 4 different continents. Just last month, we launched a new partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture in Uganda. So that's really exciting for us to see how this technology can extend to communities in the developing world. And so I'm really looking forward to chatting with everybody on the panel today. Thank you.
I'll go next. My name is Michael Sung. I'm a professor at Fudan University at the Fanhai International School of Finance. I'm the co-director and founder of the Fudan Fanhai FinTech Research Center. So we're studying a lot of interesting use cases for digital asset securitization and kind of the blend between sort of digital assets and blockchain with traditional finance. And I also am the chairman of a company called Carbonblue Innovations, which is a venture building company meant to scale fintech and digital finance innovation to developing countries.
Great. I think everybody just finished their self-introductions. So let's jump into our first question. Sunny, Vechain has so many great partnerships such as DMVGL, PwC, Walmart China. Can you give us some, 1 or 2 outstanding cases about how Vechain as a blockchain expert plays a role in this business?
Yeah, sure. So actually we play as a role as, the blockchain technology provider, not only about the platform itself, but also like all of the necessary tools and services for any enterprise try to adopt the blockchain. They might need to integrate with the current existing systems or even shaping the business processes. So before we like building out everything from scratch for any enterprise, but more and more we find out, the blockchain application cannot be, or blockchain project cannot be a purely technical project. It has to be a business project. And while, as a startup, as a blockchain technology startup, we're not able to do them all. So the solution for us is to build up the partnership with those professional service provider like PwC, like DNVGL. They have expertise, they have a focus on in each different territories, which can help us, to move to the customers or move to the enterprise together. One of the highlight cases actually, it's the full safety platform we have done with Walmart China since 2019. Actually, that case was managed by Vechain and PwC together. So we provide the technology, and PwC providing the consultant services in terms of food safety, like helping Walmart China to analyze what the gap of the realistic target, and also how we can meet the gap, how we can using the blockchain technology to build the much better food safety platform for them. And also thanks for our SaaS platform, Vechain 2Chain, we are able to deliver that in a very quick time. So give an example, usually a blockchain project for any enterprise, starting from analysis until the delivery, it could take 9 to 10 months, something like that. But when we work with Walmart China, including the consulting phase and designing phase, the total delivery time was only 3 months. And when we replicate to Sam's Club this year, it only takes 3 to 4 weeks. So our target is to, using the mature tools and the mature services to not only for blockchain side, but also for the, preference, how to integrate, how to adapt the enterprise processes or enterprise applications to the blockchain, the whole package. With that, we are able to, deliver the blockchain application within, let's say, 1 to 2 weeks. That's the only way we can really scale up. That's the only way how, the enterprise can, more and more enterprise can really adopt the blockchain technology and build the different business applications to find the value for the business and eventually be a sustainable development for the technology and the market.
Great, thank you for sharing that. That's very interesting. And the next question is for Song Tao. As we all know, China's national digital currency, DCEP, is built with blockchain technology and is testing in 4 cities in China right now. This cryptocurrency could be the first digital currency backed by the central bank. And I heard that your company is also helping them with something. I'm just wondering, how is your company participating and contributing in this such a huge project? Song Tao.
Okay, I see. Actually, that DCEP is quite a sensitive topic to talk in China right now, because central bank is really want to classify it. But yes, actually, that Secret is participating some part of the DCEP right now. And I want to introduce the background of DCEP first, that the DCEP project was launched by the Central Bank of China in 2016. And it has been researched for about 3 years in the past. And the Central Bank of China established an institute called the China Cryptocurrency Research Center in the central bank. So, and the first POC was accomplished in 2016. So, and now there are 4 cities are under the testing of DCEP, which are Chengdu, Suzhou, Xiong'an, and Shenzhen. But each city have their own functions. Like Chengdu is trying to use DCEP in some offline payment scenarios, and Suzhou is using DCEP in some industrial internet or the supply chain finance scenarios. Shenzhen is trying to use it in the cross-border payment. So each cities have their own functions. And there are 3 very interesting functions on DCEP, which are, it's not a completely based on the blockchain, but it supports the smart contract. And it also supports the oriented payments, which means that all the transactions and all the payments are traceable. And also it supports the double offline payments, which means that if both the mobile phones do not have internet, it also can accomplish the payment. So the reason that the Chinese government want to build this system is depending on two major reasons. The first one is the conflict between China and America is getting worse and worse. And if Americans stop the SWIFT system, it means that the 99% of the overseas payments and investment will be stopped. So it needs a replacement of the cross-border payment system. So it's the first reason. And the second reason is that actually when the DCEP replace all the cash in the future, and it will become a very huge database. So it means that Chinese government can use all this data to support the regulations and the censor of the country. So it may be support the formulation of the financial policies. So that's the reason that the Chinese government wants to build this system. And actually, the development of DCEP is really fast right now. And I think for the blockchain companies, especially startups like Cigarette, that we have two major reasons in this time. The first is that Cigarette is trying to help the smaller banks. You know, there are 5 banks in China can launch the DCEP to other banks, which are the ICBC, Bank of China, China Construction Bank, and China Agricultural Bank. And we are trying to help the smaller banks like the city commercial bank or rural commercial banks to build their own DCEP system or the wallet. And because those banks are lacks of the technology abilities, and they need the fintech companies like Cigarette to help them to build these systems. So that's the first opportunity for the startups like us. And the second opportunity is that we are also doing some consulting services to some local government, because there are many cities that are trying to be one of the second testing cities of DCEP besides the 4 in the past. So we are trying to help them to make some solutions or some consultant services. Yeah, and in this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing. And David, my next question is for you. As you said, like, I mean, in your self-introductions, you mentioned that Penta has been providing blockchain technical assistance to many banks in China, and also you guys are focusing on supply chain right now. I'm just wondering, like, how is Penta really using blockchain to improve our current supply chain industry?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So we come at this from an enterprise background, having provided SaaS software solutions to banks for years. And the reason that this led us into supply chain is there's twofold. One, we spent a lot of time building RegTech systems, which help banks, international banks that are active in China, meet the regulatory requirements and the like tax kind of software and financial management software. So we recognize the importance of using software in problem solution fits in specific industries. We started in the banking sector, but in blockchain, you know, banks are not really great clients. So what we're seeing now is banks want to have their own blockchains, and there's a lot of regulatory red tape that people are trying to get through. So we recognize that, you know, after financial services, supply chain was going to be the next mass adoption industry area for blockchain. And so back in 2017, we launched our first supply chain project in China called Blockchain Rice. Maybe some of the viewers have heard of it. It's gotten a lot of press attention. And we basically we used a blockchain system and RFID technology. So it was a sensor integrated blockchain to track rice from about 13 million acres of rice farmland to JD.com, which was the place where this rice was sold. The really interesting thing about this project, and why I think some people know about it, is that blockchain rice sold for 3 times as much as the rice sold prior to the blockchain solution. And the reason I think we can all understand is that consumers in modern consumer markets are demanding transparency in consumer products. This is because we have huge problems with product safety and with counterfeit products. This week, I had the opportunity to present to the Chamber of Commerce of Abu.
Hi everyone, welcome to LA Blockchain Summit, and thank you very much for tuning in to our section. I'm your host, Yiming. Today we're going to talk about blockchain applications in China. When we talk about blockchain, many of us will first think of Bitcoin, of course, and a lot of people say that there's no actual usage scenarios in or any killer apps on blockchain right now. Is it really true? Today we have invited four
products. That's a supply chain problem, and we look at it from a data perspective. So while we have done some work in the crypto space, we really see a huge revolution in blockchain in data systems. And that's where supply chain comes in, because you can think about the complex global supply chain systems that bring food products, pharmaceuticals, luxury goods from all over the world into American borders, and the same is true for other countries. We have these very integrated global supply chains with very poor visibility into the manufacturing processes and the supply networks that bring these products into the US. We're talking about $600 billion a year that's coming out of the pockets of companies that are legally manufacturing these products and going to pay for counterfeit and sometimes unsafe products. So it's a problem from the regulator's perspective. It's a problem from the companies that are legally manufacturing who are unable to sell. It's a problem from the retailer's perspective where they have liability issues. And it's a problem from the consumer's perspective, as we saw in the use case of blockchain rice. Another project that we did this year and points to another value proposition of blockchain technology and these kinds of new data systems for supply chain is a partnership we did with Juan Valdez, the largest coffee company in Colombia. And I invite everybody to check out their campaign this year. The biggest product launch they did was called Renacer, and we were their partner on the traceability. And what's really interesting about this project is that it was bringing coffee. They sell this product all over the world, and it's a partnership also with the National Coffee Growers Federation in Colombia. And the whole point here is to bring traceability. What's unique about this project is in the coffee market, we really care about the origin, and the origin, being able to verify the origin of coffee. Think about how much money you pay for single origin coffee at Starbucks or a coffee shop near you. Being able to verify the origin of that coffee informs the premium that you might see at a retailer. And what we hope to do also is to disintermediate some of these supply chains like coffee, where you have very complex value chains, so that more money can come back to the producers, who too often are left out of that wealth generation that comes from selling their coffee in markets all over the world. So we are, as I mentioned earlier, we're active in 4 continents right now. We're really focused on using distributed ledger technology, not only blockchain. In fact, we work with multiple blockchain or DLT frameworks to deploy problem solution fits that bring transparency to supply chains, visibility to supply chain data, and are able to improve the regulatory oversight for product safety, counterfeit issues, and the like. So that's really what we're focused on. And I really just want to drive home to everybody with my last comment here that blockchain is as much about transforming the international financial system as it is about transforming data systems. And I think we're going to see a lot more disruption and a lot more growth in the latter half of that, in the data side of that in the years to come. And watch supply chain, because that's going to be a space where we see mass adoption very soon, I think, of these technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So we have covered many hot topics in the last 3 questions. We know how big enterprises are using blockchain and DCEP, and also how about the regulation tag and also supply chain. So my last question is for Michael. BSN has been a very hot topic recently, and it's initiated by China Information Center, China Mobile, and China UnionPay. And many people in China think that BSN will become the official or state-owned blockchain of China. If like foreign companies want to enter the Chinese market, you have to plug into BSN. Just wondering what is your opinion about it? And feel free to let us know about this network and how your company is participating in this network. Thank you.
Sure. So yeah, there's been a lot of news recently on the BSN, which represents the blockchain-based service network. It's certainly the most high-profile blockchain initiative in China, supported all the way by the Development Reform Commission, and the State Information Center as a related body is one of the founding members. Actually, there's a fourth company that's one of the founders, actually, that is probably the most important with respect to the development of the BSN, called Ritter Technology. It's a growth stage blockchain private company, and they're the main architect of this technology. The reason why I think that's important to note is recently the BSN actually has been launched since April 25th. And in the few short months that it's been launched, it has credibly grown into one of the largest and certainly the fastest growing enterprise blockchain ecosystems in the world, right? Because it's the China effect. The Chinese government can say, you know, all the city governments, all the state-owned enterprise, and eventually all the private enterprise and organizations will be interoperable with it. It makes a lot of sense, right? Because right now, if you take, you know, Taobao records from Ant Chain and, WeChat records from, Fisco Because, and Baidu has their super chain records, and the court system here has their own IT system. They're not interoperable. And so therefore you can't do the data integration to put the big data and AI systems on top, which would massively drive the digital economy. So because of this, BSN becomes essentially this infrastructure of infrastructures to be able to connect all these heterogeneous data chains together, the blockchain internet, but also vertically integrated into the cloud. So AWS, and they've already integrated with basically all the cloud providers like Azure and Google Drive, Baidu, and all the China Telecom and all the other service providers. So now you have an environment where you can actually interoperate across chains, across clouds, across different frameworks. And I think Sunny had mentioned that in order for enterprise adoption to really take hold, you need to really lower the bar to be able to join the digital economy, right? In the first internet, in the 90s, if you want to create your own web, site presence, you needed to have a whole data center, you need an engineering team. I mean, it's a very high bar. And now you have Shopify, a mega unicorn, which you click a couple buttons and anybody can now join the digital economy. So that's the trends, and interoperability and portability and integration with the cloud and creating a unified environment, and then really dropping the bar for that. BSN is pricing their initial cloud integrated services with blockchain internets with smart contract functionality on top for portability at a very low price. We're talking a couple $100 US per year, okay, not per month. If you're trying to go to the equivalent services on Amazon Web Services, if you don't have tens of thousands of dollars a month, you can't really participate in cloud, or and certainly not blockchain engineering, which is a lot. So the idea here is now you have a framework to allow people to join the digital economy. Now the BSN is meant to be a global interoperability network. So not only is it being massively deployed on the mainland in over 100 cities, there's I think around 130 or 40 city nodes all across the country, which is massively scaled in China, but it's also meant to be the backbone of the digital Silk Road to connect internationally. And as an interoperability network, it therefore needs to connect to what we call public permissionless blockchains, like the Ethereums and Tezos and EOSs of the world, which currently are not supported on the mainland as being too decentralized, right? The government's uncomfortable with that. So recently there's been a decision by the BSN to actually split the governance of the BSN to two essentially unified networks, but governed on the mainland, which will be governed by the same founding partners, but also an international version called BSN International, which will be solely given to the private company that was the founding partner, which is Ritter Technology. And Red Data Technology is now forming a foundation and integrating. There was public chain integrations in end of July with quite a few different frameworks. And they just recently announced, very interesting enough, something called the Open Permission Blockchain Initiative. Okay, what that means is they can take a Western international decentralized blockchain like Ethereum or EOS or Tezos, right, and create a permission version with a white list of nodes so that it could be compliant with local regulation, and thereby have interoperability for the entire world's sort of decentralized dApp ecosystem that can, in a compliant way, operate on the mainland. For things like EOS, you have gas fees, right? You have to pay for Ether to run the network. They basically detokenize it and create a local version, presumably that will be driven by the digital RMB later down the road. But it gives you this interoperability. And so because of the China effect, okay, like with the DCEP, which I think is very clear going to drive global adoption of CBDCs around the world. 80% of central banks are now considering CBDCs with Libra as a catalyst, but now China as a first mover to move in that direction. China also will catalyze massive enterprise adoption because China is the largest trade partner for most of the developing world, right? And so if China goes to different countries and says, hey, if we want to trade, we do trade finance, do supply chain, do payments, do whatever it is, they're going to have to interoperate with the BSN. So therefore, is my strong opinion that the BSN is going to have a major effect worldwide on the global adoption of blockchain. I think we're at a tipping point now where the technology is maturing, right? TPS speeds, security, enterprise scale stuff is happening now. The regulation's in place, but there hasn't been that strong institutional traction just yet. And I think that's a combination of, lowering the costs to jump onto the digital economy, and then also major use cases with enterprise and institutionals, which is being driven by the China side. And the final piece I want to mention is that not only is China going to lead the sort of blockchain infrastructure and also the CBDCs, but things like digital assets. From my front row seat, right, I can tell you that the common notion that China is really against crypto is a little bit more nuanced than that. Okay, it's more of like a blockchain, not Bitcoin stance. They certainly don't support ICOs and very unregulated stuff. But the regulated versions, the STO versions, of digital assets is just around the corner of China. And when China is going to, all the test beds are happening right now. I'm working with quite a few partners who have the early, sort of mandate to do these type of things. And when they flip a switch, okay, the whole country, which is arguably the world's largest economy of PPP, will flip digital into digital assets in a regulated way. And all of that is going to, flow all over the world through infrastructure like the BSN. And a final word is for my company, Carbonblue, how we're helping out. We are, as I mentioned, bringing fintech solutions and digital finance solutions to the developing world. And I see a huge opportunity here to leverage this global interoperability network, which, by the way, doesn't just connect to the China side system, but connects to the whole world, which includes all the stuff happening in Europe, all the stuff happening in the United States. So interoperability, I think, is a common goal that will benefit humanity, right? So if we can connect all these trade finance platforms that don't talk to each other, and then all cross-border payment stuff, and we give it to the developing world, and I'm very interested in finding new digital finance techniques to get both sides of the world these days to play, right? To get the, like bankers from Wall Street to co-invest in digital infrastructure in developing countries with the China side, and also to develop that digital infrastructure for the developing world, which will allow billions of people, frankly, to join the digital economy and be prosperous, and figure out models where there's a triple win, where all three sides can actually benefit from that. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your insight. That's very helpful and detailed. So my last question will be, it's actually for everyone. Feel free to join the discussion. So my last question is, which industry has the greatest potential using blockchain technology? And and why? And what do we need to facilitate the development of blockchain applications? Do we need more, government fundings, or do we need better regulations? What do you think? Anybody?
Well, I'll speak if I wanted to give other people a chance, but my notion is, if you look at what's happening in the world right now, post-COVID, right? Anything offline is really dying and struggling, and anything online is thriving. So we see a bifurcation here of different businesses. So I think the key here is the key critical technologies that will get companies online, right? And also, I would also point out, in the developing world, right, where most of the most fragile economies are, they're mostly SMEs, right? 90% of ASEAN, country is SME companies, representing over 50% of GDP, something like this. And the reason why is because they can't join the digital economy. So what are the main ingredients to joining the digital economy? One is to be able to do commerce. So things like Shopify type thing, where we're working on Asian SME developing country version of Shopify to be able to provide digital economy tools. Second is to be able to make payments. So cross-border payments, so you can conduct trade facilitation, to digitize that trade process. And finally, trade finance, right? Which is, a lot of these SMEs are getting locked out of the financing for stuff. They have legitimate, credible business, but the world is tightening up because of the macro and COVID and that kind of thing. So if you can imagine a fintech as a service, super app or middleware layer that can sit on top of this blockchain infrastructure to provide these basic functionalities to SMEs, I think that would be very, very important for the future.
Yeah, also I can add something on that. I think Michael just make it very right. But also, from our experiences, firstly, to answer the question from Yiming, I think the blockchain can serve many different industries. It's more like internet thing. When internet gets started, people just set up the website, but actually right now, like every different industries, every different sectors are somehow, using internet like on a daily basis. Everybody is living on the internet on a daily basis as well. So I would say the blockchain is just like another version of internet. Given like 10 to 15 years, people will use blockchain everywhere or every day, but just knowing or without knowing its existence. So it's like infrastructure protocols. But also how to get to there, how to get that part, I would say we're missing two things. The firstly, from the first 10 years of blockchain technology, I would say we have too many technical guys. Now we need a more like enterprise mindset or business mindset, how to transform technology value to the business value, and then could build up more and more blockchain applications which can serve the value for the business. And secondly, I would say the entire market is still lack of mature tools and services to make everyone to build blockchain application easily and with lower costs as well. Think about that. If you think about like a company wanted to build up e-commerce platform 25 years ago, it was so difficult, right? You got to build up everything from scratch. You got to build up website. You got to build the interface with banking system for payments. There is no logistics system or digital marketing, nothing there. So a company like 25 years ago tried to do e-commerce, it was like almost impossible. But nowadays, you can easily set up an e-commerce website like in 30 minutes. You can choose a different platform like Amazon or JD.com or Tmall. They provide the templates, they provide the mature services sets. Basically, you just need to focus on your own business without taking care any kind of technical details. So I would say the blockchain is, at the early stage, it's the same thing. So we need a more and more professional, like a blockchain as a service or even a software as a service to help different enterprise to build application like super easily, like BSN, like VeChain, 2Chain. Not only about the blockchain part, but also about the enterprise system part. and even including the third-party services like the service from tech industry like DNVGO or PwC. They can help the enterprise to tell them or to guide them like, okay, this is the way you should go. This is application you should try first in your industry to maintain your leading position or secure your future position, like that. Okay.
Yeah, I'll add something to that. I really agree with what everybody has said. One thing that I'd like to add to the conversation here is how businesses are thinking about blockchain technology and DLT technology. What makes a business want to pay money for this kind of technology? And they look at it through the lens of business logic. What am I getting for blockchain technology that's better or different or has a unique value proposition versus existing technologies? And I think that's a really important question to be able to answer when you're trying to build something and sell it to a company. And so to answer your question, Yiming, about what industries we're going to see blockchain adoption, my simple answer is we're going to see it first in the industries where DLT and blockchain have a unique value proposition that existing technologies don't. So a lot of us are involved with supply chain innovation. I think that's wonderful. And it points to the fact that that's going to be definitely a huge place where we see digital transformation and movement to distributed ledger, just because the need is so great right now and the existing technology is not up to the task. And I think there's a number of other industries which include very complex value chains like supply chain systems, where you have multi-stakeholder ecosystems and problems with information parity. I'll give you another example. Healthcare is another industry where I think we're going to see a tremendous amount of disruption for distributed ledger technology, similar to some of the interoperability challenges that Michael was talking about, where blockchains don't talk to each other and financial systems and trading platforms don't talk to each other. In the healthcare system, insurance companies don't always use the same software as other insurance companies, don't use the same software as hospitals, don't use the same software as record keepers, don't use the same software as government agencies that regulate those industries. And so interoperability is a problem, not just of blockchain, but of digital transformation. Being able to build blockchains that not only check the box for business logic, as I just said, but also check the box for being able to integrate with existing systems. Because government agencies and enterprise don't necessarily want to abandon technology that they've spent millions of dollars in over the last decade or so. They want to be able to use new software and new technologies that can solve real business problems that they're having, but that can also integrate with their existing systems. And so I think one of the challenges that we as an industry of blockchain innovators, DLT innovators have to think about is how can we build technology that can interoperate and integrate with existing technologies and still be able to achieve that digital transformation that people are looking at. And I think in many cases over time, we will see attrition of existing technologies in favor of blockchain and DLT, where the unique value proposition is borne out. And a reality that we should also talk about is that maybe not every industry is going to become a mass adoption industry for blockchain. So the places where blockchain has a value proposition, where it's better than other technologies and existing technologies, and I think, from our experience, where data transparency and data access are really important to the functioning of that industry, I think that's where we're going to see adoption.
Got it. Gentlemen, if you would like to share a short closing remark for our listeners today, Mark, if you still have anything to share, that would be great. Okay, please go ahead. I think you mute yourself. Mark, you mute yourself. We can't hear you.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, blockchain is one of the core technologies of new infrastructure in China right now. So I think there are two greatest potential using blockchain application in the short term. One of it is on social governance, because the Chinese government will have huge investment in this field in short term, and we're also doing some things related to social governance right now to help some local governments to improve the efficiency on the social governance. First is to use the traceability to control the food safety, to help the schools to trace their food to their students. And second is we use blockchain to help the government to manage their contract. And third is we also use blockchain to improve the efficiency of the cooperation among different departments in the government. And the second opportunity is data governance. And in the past 20 years, we call it it's the information internet, that the internet tokens like Facebook, Google, or Baidu, they are using the individuals and organizations' data to earn a lot of money in the past 20 or 30 years. But the data privacy have been strongly damaged by their actions. So the application of blockchain is to help everyone, including organizations and individuals, to protect their data and privacy. And we can use blockchain to turn this data into traceable digital assets. And all the individuals and organizations can decide how to use their data and share the benefits together. So in order to help the development of blockchain in China, that we need to provide more scenarios. The government needs to provide more scenarios and fundings to support the applications of blockchain. Thank you.
Thank you. Many thanks to our four distinguished guests. We have covered many sectors today. I actually learned so much from you guys today. And many thanks to our audience. Thank you for joining us. That's it for today. Thank you.